Working on installing some functional heat before our next trip. I got a bunch of hardware in my way right now, but you can see back here mounted sideways with the glow plug at the top, the way you have to do it. I have one of these cheap Chinese diesel heaters. It is inside about half of a box that had a propane furnace in it. I'm reusing the box. I was going to reuse the mounting frame, but as you can see, I did not. This is a steel frame I built and riv nutted in some spots to mount the cover, which I am reusing from the propane furnace. I'm also going to reuse this exhaust outlet. I've got to modify it a little bit and build a better bracket to hold it up. I have got about, I don't know, 80% of it done here. This mounts to the frame through a few holes, and I'm going to be able to easily seal it around the perimeter. I've got some gasket material. I'm going to seal this to that with some butyl putty. So everything should be nice and sealed. And I've got a little back piece to build in here, a little floor, so that the air filter for intake can sit up here and draw from outside through the mesh, and the exhaust will blow out here. And it's all self-contained in this one little box. And if we come over here and open this guy, you can see right there I have tapped this 140-gallon fuel tank. I just threaded the top of the tank, and there's an O-ring on this style fitting. Thanks to Chuck Cassidy for that little tip in his recent one on YouTube. But the dip tube runs down just below where that X is, a couple inches. So like 2/3 of the tank basically is accessible to the heater, but I can't run it out. And so I will be hooking the fuel line to that, mounting my fuel pump somewhere in here in this compartment. There's lots of empty room. So I'm gonna do that here in just a bit, get this painted and permanently installed. After I drill a hole or two, I've got to figure out where I'm gonna pop up from the fuel tank down there with the fuel lines, bring those into this housing and hook those bad boys up, and then wire hot and ground, and should be ready to rock and roll for the weekend. It's my only day off for like 2 weeks before our trip, so got to get it knocked out. So I'm going to do less talking and more working, and I'll bring you back when I get a little bit done. Alright, so I've got my bracket painted. I've got butyl tape behind it, and it's all installed for the last time, I hope. I've also run the wiring down through the floor. You might not be able to see it. There's the fuel line coming down. Got my fuel pump suspended right here. I may shorten that fuel line a little and or play with how it's mounted, but this is my fuel fill for diesel, and I didn't want this reverberating up into the coach too much, so I thought I'd try this hanging method I've read about. We'll see. I can always change it later. And I've got this basically done. I've got it sealed up other than this hole, which I'm going to put a plate around the outside and seal that up. I've got to mount this up here with a couple zip ties like so, and I've got to finish my little bracket for the exhaust end. But the wiring reaches in to the inside. I will seal all of this to the outside. I've got some expandable weather stripping to do that, especially that right side. I don't want air seeping around it, so keep on plugging away. This is the outside all finished up. Looks basically like it did before, other than a little bit of that silver pipe. I may try to clean that up a little bit or hit it with some flat black high temp paint. That bracket I may as well. I may spray that whole inside compartment there. It's got foam lining this whole thing, a nice heavy duty weather seal. So should be nice and weather tight. Getting ready to plug in my controller inside and power this bad boy up and see about priming the fuel pump. So for right now, I just have everything run to the side. I've still got to ground it actually. Almost forgot that. But I think I'm just going to ground it to this case because it's screwed in to the bus frame or structure, which is all metal. So let me get it finished up and I'll bring you back when it's working. Alright, well, we're blowing hot air. Don't know if you can hear that. I've got it set as low as it'll go. Right now that's 1.7 hertz. But I think it'll go down to 1.4 from what I've seen online. I just temporarily have this hose shoved down in there. I need to do something slightly different. It's not aligned with this hole in the old case, so I need to widen the hole or something to get the ducts that I'm going to use in there. Thought about just using that hole. They have adapters to round ducts, but I'd have to figure out some way to seal or it would heat that box up quite a bit, especially on high. This hose is quite warm to the touch here. Oop. See? It's not quite lined up. It's a little low. I did that mostly because I was trying to get this one lined up and I didn't really pay attention to this one. But it'll be workable. It'll just take a little extra effort. But it's blowing nice and hot air. Everything's working well. I don't know if you can see in there. I've got a couple little spots I need to stick some tape. Clear it up. No muffler. I didn't have really room for it. And you know, it's doing quite well. This is, mildly warm, but not a whole lot warmer than the rest of it from being in the sun. So, see that filter full of fluid there. Tap, tap, tapping away. It's not terribly loud except when the pump's on prime mode and going as fast as it can. I am going to shut it down because it's hot enough in here and I don't want to waste any diesel. But we know it is working and the remote is as well. So, functional heat. So the other project I got finished was I used to have my monitor with my 4 cameras there. And I like it there other than it's a little far away. And because it's only a 10-inch monitor with a 4-way split screen, I was having to lean in to really see well. And I was going to move it closer over there or get a bigger one. And I still may. But for the moment, my solution is to put it right over here. So below it is where my cell phone sits for navigation. This is that air duct blowing air from outside. Little airplane style rotary nozzle. And here's all 4 of my views. And this is on a RAM mount. I don't know if I can show that to you. It's tight back there. It's on a RAM mount, 1.5-inch ball size short arm. I have 4 different ways I can mount it to the back of the TV with the Versa, or the monitor, with the Versa 75 pattern. The ball is offset, so I can adjust it a fair bit that way too. I also have a longer arm, the medium arm, and a double ball, so between the two, I can pretty much put it wherever I want. But it is out of the way of my view, right? I don't really see it unless I look up to my left a little. So it's not in my field of view, right, to see the road, but it is right here if I need it, which I use it all the time. Being able to look and see down both sides of the bus. The door is open, so this one's not actually looking down the bus. And never mind my horrible mess. Was working on my diesel heater, but I can see in front, behind, and down both sides of my bus in one quick view. I think I'm gonna love it, and we'll find out on Saturday when we head out on our next camping trip. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I do need to do a little cable management for the wires. There's a CB antenna wire that's still here, the power wires, and my HDMI, as well as the charger. This is a wireless phone mount, so you just snap it in, it charges. So there are, I've got some little bracket things that I'm going to attach it to this A-pillar here, and the dash down here, right down there through the holes maybe. So I'll wrap that up, and then I'm done for the day other than clean up.